The new Srixon ZXi Drivers offer some new technologies and added adjustability to help you play better. We'll tell you everything you need to know in this episode of the Swing Report. Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf here at the Tour event at Second Swing, Minnetonka, joined by Jake Montgomery to review some new drivers. Srixon, the ZXi Drivers. First of all, Jake, these look awesome.
Yes, they do.
I am, I've been a sucker for the matte finish, matte crown, and they've also got this kind of cool texture on here that I didn't even notice until I just felt it now. They look really, really clean. And they've also changed a little bit of the naming convention, changed some of the technologies and the sort of the lineup as well. So really excited about these ones.
100%. I mean, Srixon irons, they're well known. They perform fantastic. I would say their woods have trailed a little bit behind as far as recognition. I wouldn't say so about performance. I mean, they're very good clubs. I know many people that play a Srixon driver or a Srixon fairway. But I think that this line in particular is really going to kind of help jump them into consideration for a lot of people. I mean, first off, the look. They look fantastic. They're very clean, nice lines to them. I think it's going to catch a lot of people's eye. And then in the past, the ZX5, the ZX7, the ZXi LS drivers were really, really solid. It's just not many people were coming in asking to try them, and we can only hit 4 or 5 in a session. They just didn't come up too frequently. So hopefully a lot more people are going to come in with Srixon in mind.
I mean, I think a lot of people will, and I also like that they updated and optimized the naming and the model lineup throughout. It's a little bit more in line with sort of the rest of the industry, but I think it makes it a lot more, easier to understand. When instead of having ZX5 and ZXi LS and ZX7 and kind of what's what of that group. So the main tech is iFlex tech. It's a new kind of face architecture, face design, thinner in the middle, a little more thicker on the heel and toe. Going to help you with really performance on the miss hits. More stable, can help keep that club face solid for you. And then, of course, thin on the middle. You're going to get a bunch of ball speed there, too. The Rebound frame is back. It uses those flex zones to maximize that energy transfer. So that's technology that was from the past series. And then we should also note there's the adjustable weighting on the sole as well. So the LS here, you've got front to back. And then on the standard model, you've got kind of those heel-toe weights that you can move around as well. And then the Max is just kind of set in standard with the one port in the back. So, but yeah, you have 3 models, which I think is nice for as a fitter to have sort of Max, standard, LS. It's elsewhere in the industry, but it works.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have your more forgiving, more than likely highest spin option with all that weight in the back. It's going to help with offline dispersion the most. You've got the ZXi model, which has weighting for ball flight. You can either add fade or draw bias. And then you have the ZXi LS, which has weighting for front and back, so you can control launch and spin rate.
So today, we're going to have some shots hit with TrackMan here. We'll probably, 4 to 5 good swings with each, just kind of get some feedback on how they look and how they feel. But my first impression, just by looking at the club heads, is that these are going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
First swing off the bat. I definitely got a high-pitched sound to that one.
Yeah, definitely noticing a little higher frequency with this. Something to keep in mind, though, is sound indoors is oftentimes a lot different than sound outside.
Yes.
I'd expect it to be a little duller outside, but yeah, it's definitely something I picked up on right away. Still a little heely, but I made a lot better contact with it.
Okay, yeah, you got that ball in the air a little bit more.
Just that spin rate's coming up. But I expected to see that in this model.
Yeah.
This is their forgiving, kind of higher spin model.
What okay, so a question on this, because I feel like a lot of, when manufacturers have the Max model, there's sometimes, depending on the brand, some have a little draw bias in there and some don't.
Yes.
Do you see any at address with that just by looking at it?
This is very neutral. I mean, I don't notice any inherent draw bias at all in this club. I'm very sensitive to that with my miss already being left. If I see something sit shut, I just don't like that.
Got it.
But this one looks very, very square at address to me.
Okay.
You can add some draw bias with a hostile setting. You can set it more upright. But right now, it's pretty neutral.
Okay.
That one I caught a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Got some more speed out of that one for sure. That's a good ball.
Yep. Very happy with that.
Yeah. Mid-2000 spin, plenty of height. Getting it near 300 yards. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Those numbers look perfect.
Yeah, that's another pretty good drive there. Actually, I liked how you mentioned that second shot was a miss, you knew it right away.
Yeah.
The smash was actually down to 140, which kind of tells me you definitely missed the center of the face on that last one. But to see that, I think it ended up going 281 total.
Yeah.
So you didn't really lose much. The ball was plenty high in the air for that heel shot. The spin was only a difference of about 200 to 300 RPM.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this driver is meant for. It is kind of keeping a center shot and a heel shot as close together as possible.
Yep.
This driver is for someone that doesn't tend to hit the middle every time and is just looking for overall forgiveness down range.
Another one hit pretty solid. Yeah, a little lower ball flight. I'm going to just check. I think you may have hit the exact same spin rate in the last 2 shots. Oh,
Off by 2.
2 off. But still a really good shot. I mean, I know your draw is showing up.
Yep,
no problem
for
with
sure.
that. But it's coming back. That one was right in the center of the fairway. Let's get one more here. That speed is continuing to increase as well here.
I will say this driver feels a lot softer than it sounds, if that makes
Really?
any sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good feedback, yeah.
A little high on the face.
High in the face. Okay, let's see what
See
happens
if the
here.
spin rate,
That's
ran around the
interesting.
same.
Really good, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a variety of strikes and a variety. I mean, not that you were like missing the club face. Like
No.
it was all the kind of around the center, but we got some low, we got a heel, we got one high on the face. But to see the spin rate consistency and the deviation be 114 plus or minus is really good. Really good. We can bring up dispersion on this side here. We've got this for our total, our carry like this, which makes sense. That's kind of how everyone's going to look like if they got that draw going.
Yep, 100%.
What is your feedback hitting the ZXi Max?
I would say it definitely felt very forgiving. I mean, I didn't put the best swings on a few of those. And, I mean, I had one that missed the fairway just barely to the left. I mean, otherwise, they all stayed pretty true on dispersion. I mean, the end of the fairways are about 20 yards on either side.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm hitting into some big pasture or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, I would say this driver's very confidence-inspiring. Like I said, I didn't hit some of those too clean, and they really didn't punish me.
Yeah. I mean, I like how consistent the distance is, too. I mean, your total distance, you didn't waver very much.
Yeah.
You had one just under 280 here, and that was kind of a low, almost hook on your first swing, I think. And then really after that, everything was in that 280 to 285 range with one getting up there, or excuse me, 280 to 290 range with one getting up there to 294. So
another thing that sticks out to me is spin rate. It's typically higher than what you normally see, but a high spin driver is not a bad thing for a lot of players.
Right.
If you have a slower swing, spin rate is actually going to help get you more distance and not less, because it's going to stay in the air for a longer period of time and it's going to carry a lot further. For your higher speed players, we're looking for lower spin rates just because we have enough speed to carry at a distance, but we want it to roll a long ways. But having an option that is higher spin is a great tool in a fitter's tool belt.
yeah, it's. I think there's this message that's being shoved down everyone's throats about low spin. You need low spin with your driver to get the max distance, and that's true to an extent. And the extent of that is kind of it meets this part here where golfers with maybe slower, moderate swing speeds that don't hit the ball high are going to probably be harmed distance-wise with low spin, and where the ZXi Max can be a really good tool, I think, this year for golfers, like you said, the players that might not swing that fast or get the ball that high. So, perfect. Let's go to the standard model then. We'll go to the ZXi here, see how things change.
Absolutely. That one felt pretty good.
Yeah, good first swing there with the ZXi standard model. Oh yeah, that is really good. Wow.
Smash Factor jumped up a little bit. I would say from an audio standpoint right away, it sounded a lot more muted.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I definitely didn't notice that kind of a higher pitched, not crash, but you know what I'm saying. It was definitely higher pitched, and it's not that with this one.
A little high on the face again.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a pretty good result, all things considered. For this particular fairway, it might have missed out to the left.
Yeah. But that's just my
gonna
path
be totally
got a little
fine. That's going to be totally
out
fine on
there.
every other golf course, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little left. That's a very mean bunker for a.
For a drawer,
This was an actual fairway on a golf course.
Should not be my favorite hole.
Oh yeah.
Another real high launcher. Wow.
What I'm also really liking is how consistent the spin has been with this one too.
100%.
It seems like, again, it's still a little early, but so far for me, the big takeaway is how consistent the spin rates are with both models to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was like right at 27, and then now we're at 25.
Yep, it's been really, really good.
Because one thing I do want to note to the viewers that's not standard in this is I put the heavier weight in the toe just to help with my draw.
Yeah, yeah. That's the standard setting would be the 10 gram weight in the heel and the 4 gram weight in the toe of the adjustable weighting on the ZXi. He flipped them just because of his tendency with already having a draw to move it. So it started right.
It stayed there.
It's fighting. It's fighting going more right, but still what's interesting is how consistent the spin is again. It didn't move. Like,
and that was
still right there.
Very toey, which usually you see a big reduction in spin. That's why I was kind of hoping for that toe hook to come back in there. But I mean, you can see I just blocked it. My face was wide open.
Yeah, the face open.
There's not a driver on the planet that's going to correct that.
That is crazy, actually. So what and we'll maybe hit one more shot here for the fun, but what I'm seeing is this ball, you've had to miss left, you've had to miss right, but the spin rates with them are barely any different. I mean, we're 25.69, 23.06. This was one that you kind of pulled left, didn't quite hit as good. I mean, this is really good.
Yeah, I mean, under 100 RPMs variation for a driver is very good.
And I feel like today with what manufacturers are trying to do with driver, I think we're at a point now where, I think most people are if you're a golf gearhead, you understand the fact that the ball speed is really limited at the center of the face, and so they're trying to improve the performance elsewhere or improve consistency.
Yes.
These have been really consistent so far, like really good.
100%. If that one has the same spin rate, I'll be real impressed. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so what did that one feel like?
Super low in the face.
Low on the face?
Super low in the face.
Okay. Here's our differences. Look at the consistency on the spin. Plus or minus 88. I was really impressed with 114. Now there's 88. What else jumps out at you here? I think the spin being lower for me jumps out.
So lower spin. I would say the reason it was launching higher, I was swinging up on it slightly more, but I was tending to catch some a little bit higher in the face.
Okay.
So that's why the overall height is a little bit higher. It's also leaving my hands a little bit more open because of the weighting that I set on here.
Yeah.
But what sticks out to me the most is the ZXi was the straightest.
Yep.
The ZXi Max was the straightest. The ZXi was kind of set up for how I tuned it. My good shots were favoring a little bit right side. I'm still going to have some left misses. I mean, that's going to happen kind of no matter how I set up a driver. But this kind of followed my tuning with that kind of right plot over there.
Yeah.
And then with the ZXi Max, I mean, it really just kind of helped me find the center of the fairway.
Yeah, these drivers are doing exactly what they tell us, and they're very consistent. Again, I am very impressed by the spin being so similar every shot. I don't know if it's going to keep up here with the LS, but really, really good so far from the ZXIs.
I'm excited to try it. Spin rate dropped.
Okay, yeah, a little lower spin.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That'll
really
work.
Good. Face a little open, but it still kind of draws back a little bit.
Yeah. I'm very happy with that.
Spin stays below 2,500. Interesting. Do we notice a difference in any feel or sound here with this one versus ZXi?
I would say to the ZXi, this feels and sounds pretty similar.
Okay.
To the ZXi Max, again, it's kind of a little more muted, a little softer.
Yeah, that Max is just a little bit louder, it seems like, than the other two. The other two are pretty similar. Big push. Okay, so I know you don't like that swing. I know with that face open, that's probably bothersome for you. But the spin is still down. Like, it's crazy how consistent the spin is on this club.
Yeah,
these
100%.
clubs, these drivers, wild.
Yeah, the spin's very consistent. I mean, typically on a shot like that, I'm seeing that get up to 24, 25, 2600.
Right.
But I mean, my face angle open 9. I would say today I'm not putting my best swing on the ball, but sometimes that helps us test the forgiveness of these clubs.
Yeah, I mean, again, that shot, every time I do that, because I have that thing too, like you, where I'm inside to out, and so I either have the overhook is my miss, and then the overcorrection on my side sometimes is like, well, I'm going to crank the face open, and then I block it like that. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And the spin goes up on those shots. Face open means the spin should go up, maybe 200 RPM or so, give or take. But it's still living down in that area that we expected to see with this thing, despite that. Really good.
Yeah, I'm going to try to put one more good one on this thing. That was better.
Ooh, some speed on that one. Wow, okay, so another one out to the right a little bit.
Yep.
6.8 face angle. So in theory, we just talked about this, the spin should go up, but it didn't. It stayed down in this lovely kind of 22, 23, 2400 range that we've been living in with the LS. Pretty good.
100%. I mean, that's probably the best feeling shot I've hit today. My face was open, but I hit that pretty square, which is why my ball speed's the fastest of anything I've hit today. I'm curious to see what the averages look like.
Yeah, so let's bring up the numbers. We've got 4 good swings kind of in the data with each, and it's these spin consistency numbers are disgusting. And I mean that in a good way. They are awesome. I've never seen this, truly never seen this in driver testing before.
Yeah.
This is, to have that around 100, and this is even goes for the fact, like, you know, when we've had, I'm not trying to say this to like discredit you as a golfer, but we've had like, you know, Kevin Kraft in here testing drivers, and I have not seen that for a spin consistency.
Yes,
before.
and I would say I am surprised at that as well, especially today has not been one of my better swinging days, and it's probably the most consistent spin rates I've ever seen from a driver. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm fitting someone, I'm usually like, if we're under 300, 250 RPMs variation there, I'm pretty happy. Under 100, I'm like, if you don't buy this thing, I don't know what we're doing. And it was under 100 for 2 out of the 3 of them. The other one was at 114.
Yeah. Plus, you know, the spin rates did exactly what we expected.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, we had the Max as the highest spinning. We dropped it down about 150 for the ZXi, and then probably another 120-ish for the ZXi LS.
Yeah.
It is rare that the picture is as crystal clear as this from what the manufacturers tell us is going to happen.
Yes.
Really good, and it's also I'm going to note as well the LS for you. It was lowest spinning. You swung it the slowest actually, but because you maybe hit those last couple pretty darn good, despite the face angle open, but you hit them pretty good. Got your farthest distance out of that one, and you can see on the map here. Also worth noting that, you know, the LS model may be fighting that draw a little bit more.
For sure. There's going to be a little bit more fade.
Yeah, fighting that draw a little bit more than the other two. So this is some really good testing. We can kind of dive into the final thoughts here in a second, but really, I mean, this is really good. I hope the viewers see the kind of how impressed we are with these right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty blown away, honestly, by the results of this test here. I've hit Srixon drivers in the past, and they've been pretty solid. But, I mean, just from a consistency standpoint, I can't wait to get this in golfers' hands and kind of repeat these results and see how consistent this really is. Because, I mean, I have people where that consistency number is 1,200, where they're hitting one at 5,000 and then 2,000, and it's kind of jumping all over the place. If we can get that narrowed down a lot more, their dispersion will go from this to this.
Correct. Yeah, that's really, really good stuff here from the ZXIs. Okay, Jake, testing complete. Srixon ZXi Drivers. There was some genuine excitement for us in this one. The consistency was off the charts. Really good performance. And I think the one main critique that we really had was kind of, we thought the ZXi Max was maybe on the louder side sound-wise and maybe firm feel-wise. But and the performance was absolutely there with all 3 models.
I mean, it was my straightest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, really good stuff from each. So let's dive into each one in particular from what we know in the testing. Let's go in order of how you hit them. So we'll start with the ZXi Max. Let's talk about the type of golfer that this one's for.
Yeah, so the ZXi is going to be for the player that kind of tends to hit it all over the face. They don't necessarily have an extreme bias to the right or an extreme bias to the left. They kind of just spray the ball a little bit, and they're looking for something that's going to get that dispersion tighter. I was not swinging great today, and I only missed the fairway 1 time with that club. So I think as far as offline dispersion goes, it's going to be pretty good for that.
Yeah.
It's also going to be your higher spin driver, so if you're a slower swinger looking for more hang time, another great option.
Yeah. Now, and it's actually worth noting, you know, that fairway that I gave you is also not just some wide fairway.
No.
Like, you know, you hit 4 out of 5 in the fairway with that one. Really good for sure.
Yeah.
Now, the standard model, the one you have here, we talked about the adjustable kind of heel to toe weight options there so that you can dial yourself in. You move that weight to the toe just for the sake of your kind of draw tendency, and it did work for you.
100%. My bias did become a little bit more to the right. I had a couple out to the left, but again, that's just kind of my standard miss. If you're looking for more adjustability as far as direction goes, this is kind of where you want to be. With that weight that you can move around, it's going to help influence ball flight, I'd say up to about 15 yards. It's also going to be a little bit lower spin. So if you are a player that kind of comes over the top a little bit more, tends to slice it, this is going to be a driver where we can set it upright. We can put weight in the heel. It's also going to help lower the spin rate, which usually slices the ball have. I think this would kind of be the best option for your typical kind of cut across player,
right.
but also anyone that's just looking for more kind of fine-tuned direction.
Yeah, and then of course the consistency on this one was great as well.
Yep.
And then lastly, the ZXi LS. We talked about the front-back adjustable weighting there.
Yes.
In this test, you had that heavier weight little forward to kind of bring the center of gravity closer to the club face. But again, really good performance. What type of golfers are going to be benefiting from this one?
Yeah, so this is going to be your kind of lower handicap player. It's really going to fine-tune kind of ball flight as far as direction. This is typically for the player that's hitting most fairways. And is really just looking to kind of maximize distance, either bring a height down or bring it up, and really just kind of fine-tune things.
Yeah.
Also a little bit smaller shape, so those players kind of tend to look for that in a driver.
Right, and again, really good performance from this one as well. We also noticed that for you and your draw, it maybe fought that draw just a little bit.
Absolutely.
And it kind of, I want to say, hung the ball out to the right. You also had its kind of face angle open on a couple, but nonetheless, the draw didn't show up as much with that one, so maybe something to consider for golfers with the LS model as well. But really, really good performance here. The Srixon ZXi Drivers, fantastic. First impression from us. So if you're looking for a driver in 2025, this might be one of the places to go. And Srixon Drivers, like you mentioned kind of right at the beginning, is not always, as it were, golfers come in looking for the Srixon driver, but maybe that changes this year with these ZXi. So schedule that fitting, get with someone like Jake, and get your off the tee game dialed in. So Jake, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.